In this video, I'm going to show how to place the front caliper on this Toyota Matrix. Let's get started. Use a 21mm socket, and with the vehicle raised and supported safely, remove all 5 lug nuts and then pull the wheel off. Now with the wheel off, from the back side of the knuckle, you'll see 2 17mm headed bolts. These hold the caliper and bracket assembly onto the knuckle. We're going to remove both and remove this caliper and bracket assembly as a unit. Hold on to the caliper as you remove the last one. And then what you want to do is carefully pull this away from the rotor. Make sure the rotor doesn't fall off. Now if you look at the caliper, we're going to have to remove the brake pads from it. So push them inward. And they should snap right out. Do the same to the other one. This way we can put them on the new caliper. Now you want to use this opening here to hang the caliper on the strut. Don't hang it on the brake hose, that could damage it. Now let's separate the new caliper from the new bracket. Use a 14mm socket. Set this aside, and we're going to do this so that we can prep the new caliper, or the bracket rather, for installation. I'm going to take some silicone paste. This is high temperature silicone paste, rated for brakes. If yours is not, then do not use it because it will melt. And I'm going to put a thin layer over here, right where the anti-rattle clips sit. This is going to protect it from rust and prevent that from building up here. Now take your new anti-rattle clip and position it so that it can snap on and secure itself over here. It should kind of clip into place. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. Once again, not too much. If you put too much, it'll squeeze out as you put the anti-rattle clip on and get on the rotor, which rides right in the center here. That would not be good. All right, now we'll put this right side up. We'll pull the slider pins out, and we have to grease these. They come with minimal grease, just enough so they don't rust as they get stored on the shelf. I'm going to take some of that same silicone paste, which by the way, if you don't have, you can use brake grease, and I'm going to put some inside of this boot. This is basically going to act as a reserve of grease. Over time, it'll keep the slider pins lubricated properly, and I'm going to put some on the pin itself. You just can't put too much here because as you insert the pin into the boot, it'll get wiped off. Press that in. You'll notice that most of the time there will be some air stuck in there. What you can do to get that out is press the pin in, squeeze the boot, and there you go. All of the air and any potential excess grease will have come out. That slides smoothly. Flip it over, do the same to the other one. Now you can take a rag and just wipe off any excess grease that may have gotten all over the outside of this boot. Make sure these slide smoothly, which they do. Now this is ready for installation. Let's get the caliper back over the knuckle and have the bolts ready so that you can tighten this up or secure it before you let go of it. Snug these up, and then we'll torque them to 79 foot-pounds. Now let's put our pads in, try to fit them right in the cutouts of the anti-rattle clips, of course. This might be a little bit tricky at times just because the anti-rattle clips also act as springs and they want to squish down on the ears of the pads. The inner pad will have the wear indicator at the top if your pads have them. If not, then don't worry about it. The outer pad does not get a wear indicator and it should slide in the same as the inner pad. Now install your caliper right over the bracket and over the pads. Have your bolts ready so you can secure it onto the slider pins. That way you can let go of it. Once you put one in, start in the other. Make sure these slider pins are turned so that this cutout lines up over here. There we go. Now bottom these out and the torque for them is going to be 25 foot-pounds. Those are torqued. Remove the banjo bolt from the new caliper. We're going to have to swap over the hose next. Make sure that these two copper washers come off with the bolt. There we go. Take one off, but leave one on the bolt. Now take a 14mm socket, remove the banjo bolt from the old caliper. Have a collection bucket underneath to catch the fluid. Take the old banjo bolt out and make sure that none of the copper washers stuck on the hose. It looks like we do have a little washer here on this one, and this has to come off just like that. Inspect the hose. This is all good. Take the new banjo bolt with the new copper washer, slide it through, and then put the other new copper washer on the other side. Now you want to start this onto the caliper. Make sure that at the bottom there, this little hook on the line, or the hose, goes into its slot on the caliper. That's how you know it's perfectly lined up. Use an 11mm wrench or socket just to snug this down so it can stop leaking. I'm going to torque this to 20 foot-pounds. The goal here is to squish these two copper washers, and that's what's going to make a nice tight seal for you. If these are not crushed down just a little bit, they will not seal up. Also, if they're crushed down too much, they can leak as well. Right up top here, you have an 8mm bleeder screw. So I'm going to use my 8mm wrench to help push the cap off and then break this free. There we go. We'll let this drip. This is called a gravity bleed. This should take care of most, if not all, of the air in this caliper and in the line. At the end, you may or may not need to do a full manual brake bleed, which you'll see how to do at the end of the video, but this should take care of most of it. So let's just wait for a clean, steady trickle of fluid to come out of the bleeder screw. We have a nice steady trickle of fluid here, so I'm going to close this off. Snug it up. It's easy to break these, so be careful when you tighten them. Wipe off any drippage. And now use some brake parts cleaner to clean off any brake fluid that may have dripped down. With this dried off, cap off the bleeder screw so it doesn't clog up. Let's get the wheel back on. Reinstall all 5 lug nuts. We'll bottom them out in a cross pattern, and then also in a cross pattern, torque them to 76 foot-pounds. "76 foot-pounds in a cross pattern, here we go. On the driver's side of the engine compartment, near the firewall, you'll see your brake master cylinder. Open up the cap and of course clean it around before if there's any debris. Mine's pretty clean. You'll see that it requires .3 brake fluid, so you're going to want to make sure you have plenty of this on hand. When I do a brake bleed like this and I'm basically flushing brake fluid through the entire system, I like to remove as much as I can from the existing reservoir. So I'm going to pull up this little screen with an extraction pump, fluid transfer pump, whatever you have. Remove as much of the old brake fluid that is in the reservoir that you can. This reservoir is already fairly low and I can't reach anything with a little piece of hose that I have on my vacuum pump, so I'm just going to leave it as is and we'll just top it off all the way to the max line with brand new .3 brake fluid. I will, however, put this screen back in. Cap it off. The bleed sequence on this vehicle is going to be starting at the right rear wheel, then you move to the left front, then you go to the left rear, and then you finish off at the right front. After the first 2 wheels that you've bled, top off the master cylinder, otherwise it might get too low on fluid and air will be pushed in through the system. Then bleed the other 2 wheels. At the end, after you've topped off the master cylinder again, if you think there's still air in the system, bleed again in the same sequence until you feel that there is no more air in the system. Now I have an assistant inside the vehicle ready to pump up the brake pedal, and we're going to create pressure in the system. Then they're going to hold the pedal, and I'm going to crack the bleeder screw open so fluid can be pushed out as the pedal is being pushed down. Go ahead and pump.
Holding.
All right, they're holding pressure, so I'm going to open up the bleeder screw with my 10mm wrench.
Down.
All right, that hit the floor, so I'm going to close it up. Go ahead and pump again. Holding pressure.
Down.
All right. Go ahead and pump again.
Holding.
Okay.
Floor.
Okay, that looks good to me. You can let go of the brake pedal and remove my hose with the collection bucket. And at this point, I'm going to clean off any debris and any brake fluid that dripped here. Now, if your bleeder screw had a rubber cap, go ahead and put that back on. Mine was missing to begin with. At this point, we will move on to the left front wheel and bleed the same over there until we have clean fluid with no air bubbles. Now we're at the left front. Let's remove the little cap off of the bleeder screw. And I still have my assistant in the vehicle. Go ahead and pump. Holding pressure, so we're going to open this up. And there we go, pump again.
Holding. Floor.
Okay, pump again.
Holding. Floor.
All right, this is nice clean brake fluid, no air bubbles. You can let go of the brake pedal now. Going to remove my collection receptacle, clean this off, and cap it off. There we go. Now we'll top off the master cylinder and then repeat the procedure on the left rear and then the right front.
Let's top off the master cylinder one last time, cap it off once it's full, put the wheels back on, torque them to 76 foot-pounds in a cross pattern, and take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.